Hi everyone, Jim with CD Nova Instruments again, and today we've got the model 42iQ Thermo NOx analyzer. This is the next generation after the 42i NOx analyzer, and of course it measures NO, NO2 and NOx with a switching mode valve on this unit. So again, the first thing we notice is that it has a centered touchscreen and a USB port at the base of the unit, as all the IQ series now have. Coming around the side, if you're familiar with the I series, the 42i NOx, you'll see some changes right away. The interface board is gone, it's been eliminated. They've gone to a much more modular board system, which is great. This is the pressure board. This is the Ozonator supply board, drives this Ozonator. And there's another board here for the PMT to connect to, the photomultiplier tube, which measures the chemiluminescence NOx reaction. So they've individualized the boards, which is great. Over here, we still have the NO2 converter, but again, it looks a bit different too. It has its own temperature control board on the side, and this board used to be over here. So they've moved that board over there, did a bit of a redesign to it as well. Looking at the reaction chamber, the gold reaction chamber, it's pretty much the same. You can see the ozone capillary on this left side and the sample capillary on the right. And here they've got the permeation dryer. Now, the way these units now are priced, this is now included in the IQ series. This used to be an option on the I, but now it's included on the IQs. This is the air dryer, ozone air dryer for the Ozonator. So it's just dry air supplying for the Ozonator. So they've moved it over here as well. It used to be more centered on this side of the analyzer. So now included, which is great. The fins are still the same. You can see the cooling fins on the top of the reaction cell chamber. And there's still a photomultiplier tube at the base of this unit, which is cooled to a negative temperature. I think it's minus 5 degrees Celsius. So the cooling system is still the same for the PMT as well. So if we come around the back side, you can get a better view of the board system. You can see this board here is for the there's a lot going on here, but mainly for the photomultiplier tube to connect to. So as the chemiluminescent reaction occurs, the PMT is connected to this board here. And another great option they've done, if you're familiar with the I series, if you had a cooler failure in the PMT housing, you had to replace the entire cooler assembly. So now they've got the option, if it's just the thermistor that's failed, this little white wire, you can simply replace the thermistor. So now it's just a simple thermistor replacement instead of this entire cooler assembly. So it's much quicker, much more cost effective to repair it if it's just a cooler failure on the PMT. And the PMT is still down in the base of this unit. There's a socket base in the back, which you can get at if you pull this all apart. Here's the cooling fan for the PMT, and then the cooling fan for the main side of the unit. The Ozonator is pretty much the same. It still has the Ozonator switch. So if we lose airflow going to the Ozonator, there's a little float inside of here which drops to the bottom, and it just makes contact, and it simply tells the power board to shut off power to the Ozonator so it doesn't burn up the Ozonator. So that system is pretty much the same, and it still works great. The pump has completely changed. This is a DC powered pump, which there used to be the large heavy duty pump here, which got quite hot and used to vibrate a lot. So now we've got this much cooler, less vibration DC powered pump. And the great thing about this is just simply 2 screws, pull these out, you can slide the pump out, and you can undo the 4 screws here and get at the diaphragm to do the pump repair kit. So a much cooler pump, easy to do maintenance on it as well. Here we have the switching mode valve for the NO NOx mode, pretty much the same. It does the every 10 seconds it does a switch for the NO and NOx. And if we come around the side, the electronics again have been completely changed on the back side of the unit. So this unit here actually has a few boards in it. This panel is for the RS-232. That option was not chosen, but the options for inputs, valves, outputs, all those terminations has been chosen on these 2 boards here. But again, you don't have to take these if you don't want them. You can choose not to get these options, and they'll just be blanked out like this one, and you can work straight off the Ethernet port for the data. And again, you've got 2 extra USB ports and power cord and a fuse drawer underneath here as well. So lots of options on the way to get the data off of this unit. And you've got your CPU processor board, completely different from the I series. And you've got the power supply board, the power supply, the main power supply for DC to supply power to all these units, plus minus 15 volts, 5 volts as well. Coming back around the front of the unit, as with all the iQ series, you can still pull the front panel off of these units. And that's just to give you access to the display if you needed to service it. And again, you've got that USB port on the front and your power switch right there. The other great thing about these iQs, if you ever need to know the analyzer serial number, you don't have to go to the back of the analyzer rack anymore. You just pull that off and it's right there on all the iQs and the model code, which is great. So that's the 42iQ NOx analyzer. Lots of great improvements. Has a data logging graphing feature in the software. I'll do some videos about that at a later date. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. Thank you.